Hello guys, Blagak here and welcome to my review of the Flames of Destruction sneak peek. I went to the event today, had a really good time. I can tell you this event wasn't like Extreme Force. Extreme Force was just a huge mess, one of the worst sneak peeks I've ever been to. Too much stalling, too much deck out. This wasn't the case on this event. I didn't deck out once, but I also had the solution to deck out. So for me personally, I didn't deck out once. I only lost once against the guy who won, and I went 4-1. And I made 4th place out of nearly 40 people. The biggest sneak peek I had at my local. So yeah, I'm actually okay with this result at the end of the day. So only losing to the winner who actually played really well, had some really cool plays. I will talk about them in a minute because this guy was skillful enough to win against somebody. The second place guy had all the broken stuff, but he didn't know how to use it well. And this once again told me that my guides are actually good. There are so many players who didn't know their rulings, who didn't know what cards to play, who didn't have the synergy and the combos to really make use out of the cards to their maximum potential. And that's really what separated all the people, the good players from the bad players. Because I had the knowledge, I didn't have good cards, I played absolute trash. But I managed to actually surprise opponents with my plays and play around other cards to just make most use out of my cards. And I think that's why I went 4-1. So let's go to my deck. So I had no other choice to play exactly what I'm gonna show you. I played exactly 20 cards. The other cards were completely useless. Only spell trap cards that I simply could not put in my deck. I had no use for them at all. It just had to play those cards. I had no other choice to play this deck that you see right now on screen. So first of all, mekk-knight Altough, one of the best cards that I pulled. Very, very, very good card. If you don't play this, I don't know what you're doing, but this is another card that's insanely good. Just special summons it from the hand, and then you can tribute, for example, for Goki, Bihag, one of the best one tributes on the entire sneak. Then a Searcher. I also had the spell card, so I will talk about this later. Very good card. Link Streamer was a cyber step monster and a solid level 4. And then I had Decklist Buster. Obviously, you're gonna say, Plagaga, you pulled one of the best monsters out of, or one of the best cards out of the entire sneak. So how did you not manage to get first place? Well, the problem is I only summoned this guy once during the entire sneak. I only had one cyber step monster, and the only other way to summon this guy is to use 2 space insulators in my extra deck, which is nearly impossible. I tried to make it work, but my opponents got their field so advanced I couldn't turn the game around at that point anymore. Then Crystal Guard, I think it's the name of this guy. 800 defense, 1800 defense is really good. I sadly had exactly 2 pendulum monsters. If I only had one more pendulum monster, I really could have made use out of them, but what is what it is. This guy is also pretty good, as versatile as I thought he would be. Really good card. And then I had First Voyage and the Elemental Rod. Like Decklist Buster, insanely powerful card, but I simply couldn't make complete use out of this. I simply couldn't summon this guy only once. He won me the game. Both of them won me the game when I summoned them, but I simply couldn't summon this guy multiple times during the entire sneak. There was too much setup. I had to go to too many cards in my entire sneak. No, wait, I summoned this twice and it won me both games. But sadly, I couldn't make complete use out of it because I had to play 2 Trickster Nightshade, which is actually pretty good because I had Link 2s, I had Trickster Bloom to make complete use out of this. Normal summon this, go into Trickster Bloom, special summon this back, and then go into Space Insulator or Nightmare Cerberus. Here is the thing, guys. I'm ashamed, but I have to admit I made 2 huge mistakes when it comes to Nightmare Cerberus. I think my Flood guide overall was really good. It was way better than my Extreme Force guide. I think that's by far the worst of the guides that I made so far. So I'm a honest person. I reflect on my guides. I'm being very critical about my own guides. So I want to bring you guys really the best experience and the best guides. And I'm so ashamed I made two huge mistakes. Obviously, this card does not banish, it destroys, which doesn't really matter on the sneak, but a big mistake I made. I don't know how to slip through. I read all the cards multiple times. I don't know how I didn't realize this, but this card cannot destroy special summoned monsters in the extra deck monster zone. It can only destroy special summoned monsters in the main monster zone. Holy shit. I misplayed against the guy who beat me, who won the entire tournament. He had Topologic with Spaney on the field, and I summoned this, and I was so ready to destroy his to Spaney and take the game from there. And he just said, you can't do that, and just read the card 3 times, and I just freaked out. I don't know how this happened. I'm really sorry. To have additional light monsters and to even have additional monsters, I had to play this. I had no other choice. This was obviously absolute garbage. Again, those two also. I had not a use for this card. I had no synchros. I couldn't summon this. Like, I had absolute bullshit. This card could have been insanely good if I had one additional pendulum monster or a high level monster could make this card so insanely good, but I didn't have it. This card was absolute trash. So I had to play all these really bad cards, and I couldn't make use out of them. Then this card was actually decent. So I had 2 copies of Monster Reborn. The problem is I only could have played 1. I should have played 1 because 2 are too many. But I had no other choice. I just had to play this. This was the only thing I could play. All the other cards, there were spell and traps that I couldn't use. I couldn't activate them when they were so weak. I just couldn't make use out of them. My opponent was stupid enough to give me out of the 3 cards that I selected 1 Octo Scratch, and all the other 2 cards that I selected were really good cards. So like 1800 defense monsters. And he was stupid and gave me this. So I could activate this and special summon Hackbear back from my graveyard, activate its effect on an opponent's monster, reduce its attack, and run over him and take the game from there. So that was a really cool play. And then last but not least, this card was nuts. This card was insane, but only because I had Phosphor Rage. I wouldn't have played this if I had Phosphor Rage, but this card was insanely good. If you have an out to Tyrannical Trinity, if you don't have to be afraid of Tyrannical Trinity, then this card is ridiculously good. Yeah, but in general, you can resolve the spells first and then activate this, so this card is ridiculously good if you have an auto Trinity. By the way, today I just realized how good my guides are. I know how that sounds to you, but there are so many people that have all the insanely broken stuff. It's always the same. The most unexperienced players open the most broken stuff on the entire sneak. I saw somebody who had a really bad player who opened Palace of the Elemental Lords, who opened multiple mekk-knights Arthram, who opened Trinity, and he didn't play Trinity. He didn't, there's so many people who didn't even know what Trinity does. Tyrannical Trinity. Even the judge got the effect of Tyrannical Trinity wrong. I actually corrected the judge and he gave me right, and she realized, oh god, dude, you're right. I thought the card would work like Fossil Diner and would be destroyed if you attack it, but it's not the case. Holy shit. So that's just one thing that you have to keep in mind. Like all the knowledge, especially in the first 2 matches that you play. There's so many players that opened so busted, so broken, they had so many good cards, but he simply couldn't use them to the full extent. It was awful to realize how many play mistakes my opponents made. There was a guy who normal summoned Gorky Beerhug multiple times during this event against me and didn't use its on-summon trigger effect. I don't know what this guy did, but I don't know, holy shit. But anyway, in the end, I'm pretty satisfied with my result. I just had a blast. I had a good time. That's all that matters. In the end, I really hope you enjoyed your sneak peeks too. So a few cards that I want to reevaluate. Hard word for Germans. So first of all, Topologic Trisbane is better than I thought it would be. Also, Jajiro Invader is insane. Waking the Dragon isn't as good because people are, or the thing with Trispany is, the cover monster from the set, people are too stupid and don't know enough about the sneak to use Waking the Dragon to its full extent. I underestimated the stupidness and unexperiencedness of, is that even a word, unexperiencedness, of players on this event. Obviously there were a lot of good players, but yeah. By the way, the guy who went first place had some next level plays. This guy had pulled absolute trash, but he had a really good combo. So he normal summoned this, he went for Trickster Plume, special summoned this back, and then during the end phase of my turn, he also activated the Altough guy's trap monster. And then he had 3 monsters on the field to go for his Trispany, and from there on he simply had a 2500 beat stick on the field, and he simply won the game. He also had Mame Maku, that trap card, to bounce back my Nightshade and my Octo Scratch multiple times before I could make any plays. And on top of that, he also had Tinglingle Trinity, and he played more than 20 cards, and he simply won a lot of duels by simply decking out. He just was patient to send Trinity. His opponents were stupid, they don't know what Trinity does, they wasted a removal early on in the game. The second place guy opened the nuts. He had Palace of the Elemental Lords, he had Phosphor Rage, he had Decoordinate Buster, he had Red Legacy Lands, he had Arfram, he had the FA Synchro Monster, he could summon it, he had everything. He had the most broken cards. But the problem was, he couldn't get over Tinglingle Trinity, and in the end that lost him the entire game. He lost the entire game for the first place, simply because he wasted his Phosphor Rage, or the chance to summon Phosphor Rage, by banishing too many light monsters from his graveyard. And that lost him the game. That just lost him the game. He didn't think far enough into the future. And that's why I make these guides. That you guys know what to do and how to use your removal and how important it is. And if you open as broken, that you can really make complete use out of your cards. Obviously there is a certain type of luck. You have to open really good, not as I did, but you realize even with like 8 or 9 cards in my entire deck that are complete absolute trash, I managed to go 4-1 and managed to get 4th place. Holy shit, how in the world did this happen? Like how? Because I was experienced and I just prepared myself very well for this event. So I really hope that for all the guys, people who go to the sneak tomorrow, that you can make all these informations to best use. Again, I have my ultimate sneak guide, 1.5 hours of informations about all 100 cards with borders around the cards, so you can immediately see how good the cards are with combos. I talk about all the cards in depth. Even if you never played on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Sneak peek before, you can simply watch this guide, go there, have some fun, and play probably very well. So overall, check this guide out. The link is down in the description, and probably also will put a picture on now on screen with a thumbnail. If you enjoyed this video, please support the channel by subscribing, liking, sharing my ultimate guide, and till next time, bye.